Hello, everyone. We are back. We are officially back to movie reviews by Dr. B and
Mrs. B.
That's right. We are officially back on our show, and our show this time we are moving right along. And by the way, we are a couple of
31 years. 31 years of marriage.
And what else? We have
3 children who are adults.
And yes, we are persons of color, and we are baby boomers. Baby boomers. And so we want to make sure that everyone gets an opportunity to review the movies that we love. And perhaps these are the movies that you are interested in as well. But we've noticed that there's not too many reviewers out there like us.
Not too many at all. And in our age group, online, having the personality, personas, and the knowledge that we have, as well as the artistic talent.
And exactly. Be professional, but also being in our age group.
Our age group.
As simple as that.
50 up.
And so we are going to do our next movie is called The Little Things. Starring Denzel Washington. And Mrs. B, we went to the movie theater, didn't we?
We went out to the movie theater.
Uh-oh.
And because of COVID pandemic, we made sure that we would take protective, cautious measures in health. We wore 2 masks on our face.
Yes.
We went into the movie theater. They had wipes and toilets and antibacterial wipes. We took some of the wipes, including our hand sanitizer.
There you go.
We went inside. Once we got to the seats, we had our mask on the whole time, and we wiped down
Mrs. B
seats.
wiped down everything. She was wiping down everything. And we wiped down
our own seats.
And everyone else did the same, practically the same thing. And it was a nice crowd there, opening weekend of The Little Things featuring Denzel Washington. So let's again, we felt compelled just to go out there to see a Denzel Washington movie because basically I haven't seen a Denzel Washington movie in years.
No, we haven't seen one in years. The other actors that I thought that we should name as stars as well, or breaking out,
we're going to do that.
Is Rami Malek.
We're going to do that
as well as Jared Leto.
Thank you.
So they held their acting ability equally.
Thank you, Mrs. B.
I'll turn it over to Dr. B so he can continue.
Thank you, Mrs. B. Again.
Once again.
But again, we like to present the movie to you. I'm going to give you some filler information, the cast, and then a little bit of the plot, and then we're going to give our movie review thumbs up or thumbs down. So very quickly, guess what, Mrs. B? Over the weekend, Little Things was #1 in the box office.
Whoa!
It was #1 in the box office.
Yes. I didn't see that one.
Yes, this is what I pulled up. It was #1 in the box office. It's actually scored in by the entertainment industry $4,800,000.
Wow.
#1.
We do different details on the movie.
Yeah, beating the second movie by the second movie was 1.8 million. The third movie, which was Wonder Woman, 1.3 million. So, again, I want to give you these box office numbers because Denzel was bringing it. He brought in the crowd.
He brought in the crowd in this type of climate that we have with the COVID. And to come to the theaters and pull in that type of revenue, that
says something. So, again, we're featuring Denzel Washington, the lead, and then he was Deputy Duncan. Let me go through the character. Deacon. I'm sorry, Deputy Deacon. And then there's Rami Malek.
Rami Malek.
He was
actually Egyptian from the Coptic tribe.
Okay. Oh, okay. He was Detective Baxter, and he also played in the USA Network Mr. Robot.
Mr. Robot, who won awards.
Yeah.
Very good at that.
And let me say that.
The character role.
And let me say, his eyes were just stealing. I mean, they were just very focused throughout his character as Detective Baxter. Then there's Jared Leto. Is it Leto?
It is Jared Leto.
Jared Leto. He played Albert Sparma. Again, I'm gonna wait on that. And then guess who also starred in? Guess who also starred? Olivia Washington.
Yes, Olivia Washington. But I also and a great his daughter. She looks
Thank you.
beautiful. Looks like his wife, Pauletta.
Okay.
Looks just like both of them together. But also
She was one of the victims.
She was one of the victims. But I also want to bring up, and she did a very good job of for what the role is, and beautiful features. But I want to say also the actor Michael Hyatt, the female Flo Dunnigan, who did the detective work, said, "I can see something in your eyes" when she was talking to the character role of Deacon. She did as well. She has an international resume, whereas England as well as United States. So that was pretty good to see the diversity within the woman of African American and multiracial and woman and black woman of color, to have those type of repertoires in the field that they're in acting, and that good type of exposure. So
Thank you, Mrs. B.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that background.
That is the background. But
I also want to give a little bit more props to Denzel.
Yes, go.
Because Denzel, my boy, Denzel, started acting years ago. Years ago. Okay, and it's an adjustment to see him at his age right now, but he is still bringing it. Class, style, good looks, handsome. And he started out, as you probably know, during the 80s, in 1982 to 1988, starring in St. Elsewhere as Dr. Philip Chandler in the series. He was a superstar in a TV series on NBC, and I remember that.
Yes.
And then he had all these types of movies, like Training Day in 2001, Malcolm X in 1999, The Book of Eli, 2006.
One of my favorites, Book of Eli.
Fences, 2010.
Yes.
Preacher's Wife with Whitney Houston,
Oh,
1996.
our favorite.
Yes.
Preacher's Wife.
One of our favorites.
Off of The Bishop's Wife with Loretta. Whoa, it's just beautiful.
As well as Pelican Brief with Julia Roberts, 1993. Crimson Tide, 1990. Glory, 1989. So that just gives you a quick resume of Denzel Washington. When he does a movie, he keeps it right. And he also starred, let me just say, he give a little shout out to He Got Game with Spike Lee directing that. And he also did Mo Better Blues in 1990. Mm-hmm. And he also starred with Angela Jolie in 1999 in Bone Collector.
You know, the thing about Denzel, Mr. Washington,
thank you,
is that he has such a good background in acting, theater, but very methodical, very detailed, takes his craft personally, gets into the role, immerses himself into the role, understands the different levels of roles, as well as how to direct himself to the camera to get the maximum amount of expression and connection with the audience. And I found out this was true in the movie The Little Things. There was characters that came to the forefront as their role intended in the plot, in the story of this psycho thriller, of finding out the pathology, the profile of the persons killing these women, and why are they doing it, the psychological profile of a person that stalks, that has a mental and mentality.
But here's the plot. Here's the plot.
And to show that on film, and to be able to understand that, and then carry that through in the message of the plot and the story, and be able to really understand it intellectually and how that plays out, and then the emotional, the attitude of understanding how you can find compassion for the victims.
Okay, thank you. Let me give the audience the plot, because they have not seen the movie. Okay, they have not seen the movie, but you've already given a little bit. But let me just try to get out the plot, Mrs. B.
Okay, Dr.
As
B.
it is.
All right.
Let me get out the plot one step at a time. Well, what happened? This is a psycho drama thriller. It was actually based in L.A. Actually, part of it in North L.A., which we know from the area of Palmdale. But it's actually a psychodrama, and unfortunately, it was a very serious movie. The killing of young ladies, and he was originally a deputy, actually a detective, and yet when he came on the scene, he was a deputy in a local what is it? A local district. A local district outside of LA, and he's been there for quite some time, over 5 years. And the new deputy on the case was Deputy Baxter, who was struggling trying to find the culprit of these killings. So Denzel came in out from where he was, miles away, to really try to help.
Yes.
Deacon tried to help this new detective, Detective Baxter, to solve these serious cases. And what was transpired, really, I'm going to get straight to the issue. It was fascinating of how Detective Baxter was this steely-eyed detective, straightforward, a young detective, and he looked down on Denzel. He thought Denzel didn't know his stuff.
Yes.
What did you think about that relationship between the young detective and Denzel, the old veteran detective, now a sheriff or a deputy?
Well, the younger Rami, his role as Rami Malek, as the Jim Baxter, his role came through as if, well, I know this is the grooming of me. This is the sophistication of the police department or the sheriff. This is the sophistication of what I do and how I methodically handle things and how much of a manager and administrator I am. And I can't get into worrying about being emotionally tied to all that goes on in the.
He was very stoic. He was very stoic.
And killing, and then he's a family man. And here's the thing. He thought, in the role of the characters, he thought, well, I am better than you. I have a better
That's how it came off right up front.
Or a better grasp of how to handle these things. And I can't get too attached to the situation of these women dying. And then Denzel says, well, it's the little things that go mess you up. It's the little things you get caught by. And then, as not to give away the plot, this is what happened towards the end. Rami, the character Jim Baxter, began to realize what he had done. And then Denzel Deacon comes in with the experience and says, well, this is similar to what I've been dealing with and happening all along. And then there was the moral factor there, where they were sitting in the car in a stakeout, and Denzel's character Deacon says to Rami's character Jim Baxter, I have a commitment to find this killer of this woman, this stalker of these women. I have a commitment. I have a loyalty. I have understanding of why I do this job, day after day, suffering from flashbacks and suffering from the damage and psychological harm that you deal with on a case and working a case in law enforcement.
Ooh, this is getting deep. This is getting deep. Oh, yeah. You can really deep on this, Ms. B. Hold on.
And going through that, and just to wrap that up, he said, I have a commitment to that. And so once the character of Jim Baxter got into the understanding of the case, then he had a change of understanding towards the character of Deacon. And the change was, I do believe I have a commitment to solve the case. I'm not just in it to just get in it and career-wise and move up and get out of it. I have a lifelong commitment. And we're going to get that person and this man or that woman, whomever.
You're really getting into this.
Okay,
let me just slow down. Let's slow down just a little bit. But what happened in that relationship? I get back to relationship.
Epiphany.
I get back to relationships. It's when Denzel, the character, came and visited Baxter in his home and saw him in his home with his 2 kids and his wife. And this was the scene that really captured me, is that the little girls of Baxter really liked Denzel.
Exactly.
Even though Baxter didn't care for him at that time. He was still being stoic. But when the little girls came up to Deacon and gave him a hug, said, how you doing? Nice to see you. I'm glad you come here. And don't forget that scene, because the little girls gave him a nice hug and they all smiled. And then the character of Detective Baxter realized he's a nice guy. My little girls came and hugged him.
Well, children are honest.
And then he realized he needs to bring in the Deputy Deacon to the case more so. So again, like you said, kids are honest. They don't have to prove anything. Detective Baxter was trying to prove his image as a young detective.
Yes, most of the time, children, when they come up to a person and they sense that, all the work that the Deacon character, Deke, did for finding the killers of these women, the caring, the compassion, that comes through. And that came through this daughter's coming up and saying, oh, I feel that that's a nice person. Yeah. That's caring.
They felt like he was a nice person.
And that's how everyday life. That's everyday life.
And that's how Baxter eased up and really started to bond with Deacon. And they actually did a stakeout of the criminal, of the Sparma. And that's when a lot of other issues come into play. I don't want to give the final point. But what happened is that they were sure that this character, Sparma, was the culprit. And they had to go through a lot of stuff to get there.
That's true.
A lot of stuff. A lot of scary stuff. And matter of fact, you have to pay attention to the dialogue because it's pretty detailed through the movie.
Yes.
That was a challenge for me to keep up with the dialogue because it was going back and forth. And matter of fact, it was going back to when Deputy Deacon was having a problem with solving his own case 5 years ago when he was a detective. That was the reason why it was going back and forth.
Yeah, it was going back and forth because the reality of law enforcement and dealing with law officers and me knowing some of the knowledge of that, of the field, even though I'm in the fine arts and arts education and management, is to understand that as he's going through these flashes, that is what's happening through the psychological counseling that he's either receiving or not receiving.
He hasn't received any psychological. He didn't receive no. Let's not. In the movie, he did not receive any psychological counseling because he was obsessed with his past, with all this. And matter of fact, here's the funniest part. I thought when Denzel's character went to see his ex-wife at his previous home, he visited his ex-wife, and she knew that they had to part because he was just so obsessed with being a detective. And then when he came back to his wife's house, he tried to get himself together. Of course, he was struggling to be the good husband. But by the end, Denzel's character said, "I am what I am, and the person you married, he's straightforward, but I'm going to mess up your lawn." Remember that part where he just was so teed off with his wife or the new husband? He even just pushed the grass over and the dirt over before he left. Yes, he just like an ex-husband. I thought that was cool.
Well,
Denzel always keeps it real. He doesn't just go into the role. He said, "What would an ex-husband do?" When he goes back to his wife's house and he's like, "I'm gonna mess this place up in some form or fashion," even though I still have feelings for her.
Resentment, and that's the thing about it. His wife, the actress that was his wife, there was the other actress that's African American female that I talked with earlier. She's a medical examiner. She really looked in his eyes and knew that something was wrong psychologically, that he needed help.
Well, she just basically said, "You're wrong." She said, "Your eyes are wrong. I can look in your eyes. You're wrong. You need help." And he never. Getting back to your point, he never got help.
Yeah, and then the character, calm down. and then he never got help. And then the character of his wife, she's like, it was sad because you can still see that there was love there, but at the same time, he lost something, and he knew it was his fault that he lost it.
Say that again. Say that.
He knew it was his fault that he lost the love and the
and
wife
the reason why he
and the mother
knew
of
it was his
adult children.
Like I get back, he's so obsessed about the cases.
He's obsessed about the cases,
and
that
that's
he
what
sees them.
He sees and he talks.
He doesn't visualize
them,
but he sees those and he talks to them because he wants to find them. He wants to find. He wants to solve the case, and he becomes obsessive. These little things. These little things. And then there's a scene in there where you wonder if he had compromised one of the cases. Was he involved in compromising one of the cases? We're not sure.
We don't know, but don't say anything.
But I'm not going to say anything about that.
And here's what I really want our audience to say. Again, before we finish out, please like and subscribe our video. Please like and hit the subscribe button right here. Right, the subscribe button right here. It's right there. Please subscribe right there. It's right there. And I'm going to spring this on Mrs. B. I want our audience to look at the movie. When you get a chance to go see the movie, let us know what you think the ending really is. Because there was a big question mark at the end. We need responses from our viewers to say, what was the ending? Because I left with a question mark.
Yeah, there was a question. I was left with a question mark too. I was like, okay. And towards the end, he had went into his home where he lived. And then I wondered, I says, okay, the question mark was,
don't say don't do that. Don't do that. That'd be the biggest spoiler alert. But just give us your feedback as to what really happened. So we're encouraging you to look at this movie. So after that review, Mrs. B, what is your evaluation? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Okay, can you just relax a bit?
Yeah, it's Denzel. It's Denzel. It's Denzel. Mr. Cool. Mr. Cool. Mr. Cool Denzel. Okay, I'm sorry.
There you go. Calm down. Well, I would say I liked the film. I really enjoyed it. The actors and actresses did an excellent job. You all are really good at your craft. And we enjoyed being in the theater and watching you. And it was, I didn't understand where it was going at the end and whether it was supposed to be resolved or not. So I was going to say 1 thumbs up and 1 thumbs down like this, but I'm going to go ahead and give it 2 thumbs up. So thumbs up.
There you go.
Because I couldn't understand what was going on at the end, but it was really good. We really liked it. Thank you. We enjoyed going to the theater.
That was your hold on, that was your assessment?
And my
2 thumbs. Let me see. Come on.
A thumbs up and another thumbs up.
I give it 2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up.
You get 4. So
I'm a little biased. I'm a Denzel Washington fan. I'm a little biased, but the plot and everything kind of came together. You have to look at it, put it all together, and it leaves you with a big question mark. And that's what a mystery is supposed to do. You're not going to have everything tied up and all the answers.
Yes.
So
yes, you're not going to have everything tied up.
Mm-hmm.
Get the words out.
That's all right.
A tongue twister.
There you go. So we give it 2
You're not going to have everything tied up into one, summary of it. And it's supposed to have the audience figure it out. So just enjoy the movie. Enjoy who you go see. Enjoy all the characters. Get you some popcorn.
Go to the movie theater. You can go to the movie theater
with
in your
precautions,
local with precautions.
With COVID.
Take precautions. Do the social distance. Make sure they're following procedures. You do the same. And matter of fact, there was a crowd. We had a nice crowd in the audience.
We had a nice crowd.
Very nice crowd.
We had a good time.
So please go and help us figure out this mystery of the little things.
Yes.
With that said, I am Dr. B, and she is
Mrs. B, independent artist scholar.
And I'm an anthropologist, bringing it each and every time. So again, we want to thank you, and we hope you enjoy our next movie review, which is coming soon as well. So any parting words, Mrs. B?
I'd say stay safe. Actors, we are an advocate when we have the time for you, for your equal rights and your fair rights. And just keep on acting ethically and stay out there and do your craft and enjoy your life. Stay safe, stay healthy, and be blessed. And peace to you.
Thank you, Mrs. B. We out.